second. Go.
Hi, my name is Specialist Robert Valentine. I'm from the 800th MP Company in El Dorado, Arkansas. My hometown is Kelso, Washington.
Some stuff.
Well, basically, in 2003, my mother got sick just at the end of January. My birthday's at the end of January, so I was basically just a day into being 13, and she started coming down with an illness. She went to the hospital, got checked out, sent back home, started getting worse, finally got admitted. And between the months, at the end of the month of January to April 15th, I watched my mom basically get diagnosed with a brain disease that turned her into a vegetable. So I watched one of the strongest women I've ever known essentially die in front of my eyes. So that was really hard. There was a lot of shock and depression that kind of went along with it. As a side effect of that, my father, he kind of shut down. After that, my father had a lot of health concerns prior to my mother's passing. My father was significantly older than my mother. He was about 11 years older. So my mother died at a young age, around 35, 40, and my father passed away just recently, going on 3 years on February 5th, 2012. 5 minutes before the Super Bowl actually happened, to be exact. But he was about 600 pounds and in a wheelchair for most of my childhood. Myself and my brother George Valentine, he was named after my father. We had to take care of him. I'm the youngest of 5. I got a brother named Ron, Vicky, Melissa, George, and then myself. Ron and Vicky are from my dad's first marriage. Significantly older, 17, 19 years older than me. So I grew up primarily with Melissa, George, and myself. But we all chipped in. We all took care of my dad. I'm not ashamed of it. I had to, bathe my father and take care of him. I love my father. He taught me a lot about being a good-hearted man and essentially what a good person is. But there was a kind of a lacking of the physical aspect of being there for my football games. He was able to make it to my very first JV football game, which is a memory I'm always going to have. I sacked the quarterback on my first ever football game in high school. I got it on tape, so that's a go for me. But that was about it when it came to my baseball games. It was my mom, So when I lost her, that was a big chunk of my life. I'm a very firm believer in everything happens for a reason, although you might not know why or when or how long it takes you to realize it. And it's been about 11 years since my mother's passing, and I'm just now starting to realize some stuff. To forward a few years, turned 18, I asked my now wife, then girlfriend, but fiance, Amanda Nicole Galuski, previous, now Valentine, to marry me. And I proposed to her at a church I grew up in. And we moved out to Sacramento, California, so I could go to college. She attended college while she was out there as well. And we both got our associate's degrees about the same time. Shortly after, I decided to enlist in the United States military. And I went to the Army Reserve. That first couple months of basic training was probably the hardest experience of my life, not because of the training, it was being away from home. While I was gone, my wife, there was a shooting at her work. If it wasn't for the battle buddies that I had at Fort Sill between January 4th of 2011 to March 17th, if anybody out there who's watching this video, I'm going to give you a shout out. You know who you are. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have made it, and I probably wouldn't be standing here. I fought through that, and I finished my training. I mean, God bless everything. Everything was okay, but and then I lost an aunt and an uncle while I was at AIT 2 days apart from each other. So there was a lot of, even from way back then, there was a lot of support from my battle buddies, but in a death, usually there's a lot of support regardless. So fast forwarding a couple more years, this is end tail of, or beginning of 2012. Like I said, around February, the unfortunate event of my father's passing. I was very fortunate enough to get to go home and see him. The way the story actually went is I went home for 2 weeks, and he got sick, and they said, "Oh, this is it. Well, he started getting better, so me and my wife flew back home. We were still living in California, and then I was home for about a week, and then my brother called me, and he said, "Robert, you need to come home. This is it. I know you just spent all that money, but you need." Me and my wife were on a red eye that night, and I got to be home. I got home, and 2 days later, my father passed away. That was a hard one. I had experience with death in my family. I've lost a total of 15 or 16 members of my family, and I'm almost 25, so it's been a common occurrence between cancer and other health issues. So it's kind of motivated me to do whatever I can to protect my health. End of 2012, I was going through a lot of different feelings and whatnot, and I tried to go active duty, regular Army, and there was a time slot where I could have gone. I was trying to get my paperwork in time, and it didn't happen. Well, I put in my application to become an AGR, and God bless, fortunate enough, I got accepted into the AGR program, and I got my official orders to report to duty April 7th of 2013, and I've been doing that ever since, and I plan to continue on with that. I got assigned to the 800th Military Police Company Combat Support Unit in El Dorado, Arkansas. Been working with a pretty interesting group of individuals, good, bad, and different, but we're all pretty much a good family. And then just recently, we found out about this triad. Now, I want to tell you about my first impression of this triad. I think this is where everybody wanted me to go with this, is, oh crap, they're sending me to fat camp. And I'll admit, I made a little bit of a stink about it. I did not want to come here. I was like, I had just gotten off of leave. I spent 2 weeks in Washington. I tagged my first black bear ever. Got to see my nephew get married. Oh my God, it was amazing. Best leave trip I've ever had. And I get back to here, going to the triad. What? So, I'd had issues with my weight previous, and whatnot. I'm happy to report, by the way, I'm no longer flagged, and I'm passing PT and height and weight, and everything's a go, so I can progress with my career. But so I was really hesitant, and I had some very interesting words to say about it to my command and some of my fellow soldiers, which I apologize. Kind of apologize for saying it now. So when I got here, I was part of the cadre, so I got here earlier than the rest of the participants, and I was driving the bus and helping out. And then I became one of the participants when everybody else showed up, and first couple of days are always hectic. Shortly after, we started attending like the Master Resilience Training, MRT, and the Master Fitness Trainers, MFTs, and just all these other classes. And then I started noticing something. Something started changing, is that everybody stopped. They realized, I was like, wait, this isn't going to be a 2-week smoke session. This is not. It's not basic training. This is something that's here to help you. And when we started doing the MRT classes, they challenged us to kind of think and bring up a lot of emotional stuff, and some people started sharing some stories, which kind of gave me that personal courage to get up and talk about that. On a side note, I'm happy to report me and my wife, right before coming here, just finished our last class to become adoptive parents, and I'm very much looking forward to going home and continuing on with that, and hopefully within 3 to 4 months, my wife and I will have a child. So because of these classes, I was able to kind of express that, and the amount of support that I felt when I got to stand up and express how I felt about being a new father and some of the fears that I had. You know, it took a lot of courage, and some of the other soldiers, they got up, and one of them told his story about how he was adopted and the feelings he had, and he came up and he shook my hand and said how he thanks me because of how I'm doing an honorable thing and how important it was. And for that feeling, that is more than just being here for PRT, you know, or fitness or health or nutrition. There was a much greater aspect. And after that, people started coming up to me, and everybody started bonding, and things started changing. And speaking of courage, I'm going to throw a shout out. That's a very strong individual that I know of by the name of Specialist Verdine. The very first day of MRT class, got up and told his story. And I'm not going to lie, about 90% of the soldiers here had tears welting up in their eyes. And that man gave me the honor of talking to me for about an hour and a half. And I'm thanking him every moment for that one, because it even gave me the courage to stand up and tell my story, and which kind of led me to this interview. Just the kind of community that you have in the military that you kind of take for granted, or you think that that's not there. It's just, but it is. And the self-growth that you have, it's unbelievable. And I don't think I would have experienced that if I didn't come to the triad. Right after I met Major General Churn for the first time, when he came and introduced himself to the troops, I was a little nervous and a little hesitant, but I went up and after everybody had dissipated, and I went through Command Sergeant Major Williams, who asked Command Sergeant Major Owens, who asked Major General Churn if I could have a moment of his time. And so I had a moment to talk with Commanding General and Sergeant Major Owens and Colonel McMullen, about 5-6 minutes, and I told him a little brief story, basically what this interview is. And at the end of it, I go to give the general a handshake, and he gave me a hug. And to me, that meant more to me than anything, that somebody, didn't matter what rank you are, didn't matter, that he looked at me and he appreciated my story. He understood why I was saying thank you, maybe more so than what I was saying, you know, how much this triad meant to me. So I just want to say to everybody who might be hesitant to take this program, to might be angry, might disagree with it, come here with an open mind. Even if you think you're not getting something out of it, you will. I've made so many contacts here. It's unbelievable. And I've made new friendships that I hope to God that are long lasting, because for some of these individuals, they're amazing. If nothing else, you get to meet a whole variety of people that you would never have had the opportunity to meet before. So I just want to give a personal shout out to everybody who worked hard to this, who put in the extra hours, the time, the platoon sergeants, the cadre, the staff, the advance party, all the HERs, and all the soldiers that came here to participate and had my back and really were there for me and comfortable and made this an amazing experience I'm never going to forget.